What's going on, people? Jeff again. This is actually CoD4 commentary this time, so I actually have a script and I have an idea of what I'm talking about. So it's not me just rambling on about nothing, although that's probably what it'll turn into. So, first things first, apple pie sitting on the island out in the kitchen, and I'm really hungry, but I'm restraining myself. So, this commentary, I guess I'll just talk about like getting back into Call of Duty after taking like a break, because I actually hadn't played Call of Duty in about 2 or 3 weeks, and this was my 5th or 6th game back on, and you'll see the kill streak. But yeah, first tip, I guess, is don't be afraid of using like so-called newbie guns. I don't know how much you guys consider the MP5 to be a cheap gun or whatever, but if you have a little bit of XCal blood in you, you kind of try to restrain yourself from using like the FAMAS or the MP40. Maybe the UMP too. I kind of hated that gun for it felt just so cheap, like killing people that far away with a silencer too. But second thing is, don't just like blindly run around corners. Like right here, I just kind of waited for the guy. I got kind of lucky there though. But you'll see later in the video, I'll just kind of like crouch walk around corners or whatever. I don't just sprint in there and expect to kill everybody like Rambo or anything. So third thing, kill the guy on the turret there. If you get a chopper, you don't want guys on turrets shooting them right down. You want to get the most amount of kills possible out of your air support. And yeah, so use kill streaks wisely, try to put the airstrike where you think they're going, general stuff like that. So I guess the next thing to cover is this article we read in English class. It was really, I don't know, disturbing, but kind of eye-opening. It's called 38 Who Saw Murder Didn't Call the Police. And basically there was this woman in Queens in New York, if you don't know where Queens is, but she was living in an apartment. It was one of those kinds of apartments where there's stores on the bottom level, and then like the next two, like the 2nd through 4th floor are like apartment buildings for people to live in. And this woman parked, it said about 100 feet away from her, from the apartment building. It was about 3 in the morning. And then this guy just kind of came up to her, and it wasn't just like he came up to her, stabbed her, and that was it. It was a 35-minute period between the 3 stabbings just to kill her. And the first stabbing, you know, the guy's running after her, she's screaming out, "I'm dying," or "Oh my God, he stabbed me." And it was just ridiculous, like the reactions of the people who in the apartment buildings, you know, they're just kind of saying, "Hey, leave her alone." They didn't even come down to help. Didn't call the police until 30 minutes after she was dead, and the police arrived in 2 minutes, which just goes to show that within that 35-minute period, they could have saved the woman's life. But my God, it was just so, I don't know how to explain it. But then there was this article we read after it called The Murder They Heard, and it was basically the same story, but a little bit less biased. You know, the guy tried to see where they were coming from. He basically listed a bunch of, I guess, excuses that they might have had, or reasonings for not calling the police or something like that, like not wanting to get involved. Maybe they didn't know the woman, because it doesn't matter how close you live to someone in an apartment, chances of knowing them, or it's not like you just live in like a village like they were saying, or like a little neighborhood. People tend to want a lot more privacy when they're living that close to people. But they were just listing a couple reasons as to why they might not have called, but I was like, still, just, you don't have to go down and take a bullet for the woman, or I guess a knife in the chest in this case. But at least, like, call the police. They had some weird extension number, but all you had to do was hit O for operator, then you could just ask for the police. I just didn't understand, even with all the reasonings as to why they wouldn't have called, I just didn't understand why they wouldn't, like, save the woman's life. But, one of the reasonings was actually, like, really believable. Like, they didn't have the puzzle all put together for them like we do now. You know, we're reading it out of a book, it's telling you everything that happened. But, they were just kind of, you know, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, most bars let out at 2. So it might have just been like a drunk, like, pair of kids or something. Maybe they said lovers quarrels. You know, maybe they were having relationship issues. Although I don't know how "I'm dying" gets put into that. They said something about, like, someone pulling a joke or whatever. You know, like, "Oh my God, I'm dying," but the woman was, like, screaming at the top of her lungs. I don't know how that's a joke. But this article was just, like, so eye-opening. We read it, and a lot of the kids in my class were, like, so pissed off at these people. They were like, "Why didn't you do anything?" But the murder they heard did really put it into perspective. It gave you a couple reasons behind it, but it still doesn't add to the fact that they didn't do anything at all. So after that, we just kind of talked about, you know, think about it in your daily life. You might think, wow, murder, you didn't do anything. But think about, like, bullying and stuff. Like, you see kids get bullied every day, and most of us don't say anything. Perfect example, in my gym class, there's this kid named Aaron. He's, I don't think he's special needs. I think he's just socially awkward, you know, like Asperger's. But, you know, kids, like, pick on him all the time. He just doesn't want to be there, and they just make his life even more miserable, and, like, nobody says anything. But the teacher does know it's going on now, because a couple kids brought it up to her. But think about it. What would have happened if nobody had said anything to the teacher about him getting bullied? You know, nowadays you hear all these stories in the news about kids, like, suiciding at, you know, 15 years old. That's how old this kid is. So, you know, just put it into perspective. Think about it in your daily life, I guess. If you see someone getting bullied, don't be afraid to speak up, because you could end up saving their life. So, that's all I really wanted to talk about. But I still have about a minute left, so I guess I'll talk about that apple pie some more. God, I'm really hungry. Going to Red Robin today for lunch, though, so that should be really good. God, they have the best burgers. Get, like, a chicken. I think it's a number 3. It's got chicken and lettuce and mayonnaise, and I think it has tomato. I don't eat tomatoes, though. Sesame seed bun, and then it's got a little arrangement of, like, things you can put on your burger if you want them. They just kind of come on the side. But I'm really looking forward to lunch, because that's going to be awesome. My sister lives on campus at college, so she's coming home this weekend for my confirmation. And, yeah, that should be about it. Final score 32-5. I hope you enjoyed. Please leave comments below for suggestions and stuff if you have any. And see you next time.